My name is Cypher Morrison, and this week in car audio. Tune in. This week in car audio. Tune in. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in. This week in car audio. Yeah. Tune in. This week in car audio.
Welcome to This Week in Car Audio with your host, the Judge, Doug Stockton, co-hosted by Mr. Jeffrey Fernandez, the Texas superstar himself. What's going on, Jeffrey?
Nothing much, Doug. How you doing?
All right. So were you in Vegas again this week?
No. Not this week.
All right. Yeah, the Cinecon was going on, so I'm surprised you weren't there. Obviously.
Oh, that's the it's like the movie film industry convention in Vegas.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Oops.
Your sister was there, right?
My sister was there. You are correct, sir.
Was she there as an attendee, or was she working?
A little bit of both. She wasn't an exhibitor.
Gotcha.
She was there working for Universal and one other United Artist. I don't remember. Anyway, whoever did the Joker, that was the one she was there for. So.
Like the production.
Yeah, she was there to do.
Gotcha.
Oh shoot, wrong button. Show chat. I hit the wrong button. I'm trying to get this thing set up so I can see everybody's chat. I see Mario Perella in there. So you didn't have a show at all this weekend then, right?
Correct. No, I was on my couch.
You were on your couch?
Pretty much all day Saturday. They just had a UFC 300, so it was like fully stacked card. I don't know. Do you watch combat sports? I don't think I've ever asked
don't.
You.
No. I don't have time.
you don't have time for TV at all, right?
I don't. And I'm on vacation right now. Forced vacation. Don David.
That's the last thing you want to do, huh?
Well, so I've been fishing a bunch of hours a day. Greg Cleary popping in.
Ooh.
So yeah. I may have put in some applications to other employment opportunities.
What? They don't just offer you the job? You have to apply?
Yeah, it's just I'm not good at sitting around. And
new location.
It's just I'm just not good at sitting around. I'm trying to get a loan for her house, blah blah blah. It just makes it a pain in my butt,
I gotcha.
Almost done sharing here. I'm all the way down to US amps. So
in alphabetical order, right?
I guess not. And it isn't as often as you click on them because, I click on the same ones every week and they're always in the same order. All right, I've got everybody on there. SQ Sounds, Tristan out of Bridgetown, Barbados says, Mr. JP, great to see you on the show. He's tuning in on the YouTube side. We got all these people tuning in on the Facebook side. We've now shared to everybody. What do you got going on, Jeffrey, as far as shows coming up, real quick?
Real quickly, I got them right behind me. I'll talk more about it later, but this coming Sunday in Grapevine, Texas at Crossfire Car Audio headquarters, we got an event.
3X.
That's 3X that was upgraded by Mobile Insulation of Texas and Longleaf Mechanical. They upgraded the event to a 3X and added trophies for the awards. So thank you so much. Big thanks going out to those guys for sure. So that's going to be this Sunday.
Is that the gold, silver, bronze ones?
I believe so. Yes, it is. Okay. It is. Tony was there today. I was talking with him. and DB Drag actually shared the event, so he was like just happy about it.
Okay.
He's the kind of guy who's like, oh, okay, I got my name on it. Cool, that's good. That's good. My name's getting out there, so he's real happy about it.
All right. We got Eric Hansen popping in the chat. Speaking of Eric Hansen, we'd like to say thank you to our sponsors for today's show. We got Crossfire Car Audio, E-Box Design and Install, and Voodoo Customs. If you guys get the opportunity to support somebody who supports the things that you like to do or and see and be part of. So if you guys have a chance to patron somebody, check with our sponsors and possibly, go with one of them if you have an option. All right, so our guest this week, speaking of sponsors who travel all over the country and sponsor all kinds of stuff, we got Mr. Johnathan Price, JP, as some people know him, Down4Sounds they are currently out of Las Vegas. So what's going on, JP? Do you go by Johnathan, John, or JP?
I've been called worse. So.
I know. By people way
no.
better than me, I'm sure.
Yeah, usually Johnathan or JP, one of those two.
All right, I'll do the Johnathan. I have a cousin named Johnathan, and he absolutely goes by Johnathan.
Yeah,
So.
that's fine. But yeah, just doing my thing, traveling to all these shows, and like we were talking about before, 2 weeks ago, I was in Montgomery, Alabama at Freaknik, and then this weekend on Saturday, I was at Team No Chill show in Auburn, Alabama. So, and then this coming up weekend, I'll be out of town for vacation purposes, not so much business. But and then the weekend after that, I'm going to Triple Fest for Incriminator Audio. I think it's on May the 4th, up in northern Alabama. So that's kind of my month in a recap and forward look as well. So always hitting the shows because I know people, like, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing without people's great support, and they like to see me at the shows, and I still enjoy going to shows, and it's something that I love. So it's just a win-win.
Well, speaking of the shows, I do know when you used to attend shows, you used to do demos. Didn't you have the truck that you had the step ladder to get in and all that stuff? Yeah, or a set of stairs to get in the truck and all that back in the day?
That one wasn't my truck.
Oh, okay.
I think that was the only one that I can think of that had a ladder. Well, I think the first one that comes to mind is Greg Corbin.
Yeah, obviously when you're down south. Moses Martinez in there?
I think he's in Vegas.
He is. Corbin's in Vegas. Yeah. But then there was also up north there by Rusty. What's the name of that shop out there?
John at Sky High had a big truck.
There you go, Sky High.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had a big truck too.
Yeah,
but I never had a big demo build like that. I just always had the Tahoe that I took to the shows, which I still do, and that thing's got to be getting 15 years old of going to shows and doing demos. It has been around for sure.
Probably not in great shape anymore.
Man, yeah, we just got it out of in the wintertime, it goes down for maintenance and stuff. And this winter, we had to replace all the doors, like all 6 of them, because they were just destroyed. And like, so that was the wintertime project, was to replace all the doors. And now, and we put our new hexacone speakers in there. And but now the next thing is we have to take it to get it wrapped again, because it almost looks like a police vehicle. It has these off-colored doors. So right now it has like a wrapped fender, 2 black doors, half the wrap that was there, and then the back doors are black too. So it's funny.
That's cool. So speaking of you going to the shows and whatnot, why don't you tell us kind of what you got going on now, and then how you got started in the industry and all that stuff.
Man, what I have going on now is a far cry from what it was when I first got started, and I never thought it would turn into something as big as it has, and it's been definitely a huge blessing. And to know, like 8 years ago, I was like I mean, still feel like I'm this normal guy from Mississippi or whatever, but when I was trying to figure out my way, like I was working at an airport full time, like pumping gas into like private planes and catering to private planes. I had like a small lawn care business. I had that my entire life. I was always cutting grass on the side, like as a side hustle type thing.
I
Was doing
that.
I was also detailing cars and airplanes on the side, and I was waiting tables all at the same time.
So you had your hustle on, is what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely.
My dad always instilled a very hard work ethic into me. He never gave me anything for free other than the lesson of working hard and staying consistent. So there was a joke or a rumor that came out like, oh, JP's parents gave him everything. They paid for all the product to start his business, all this stuff, which was a huge lie. But I made a video about it to troll people. So I labeled the video like something like the truth about my parents paying for Down4Sound to get started or something like that. So at the beginning of the video, I said, hey guys, I just want to come clean about my parents giving me $250,000 to start the business, or $1 million. I can't remember the amount that I said, but I said that, but I had my parents sitting there with me in the video. And then I'm like, a couple of seconds later, I say, if you don't feel like that's the truth, then you're correct. And I turned to my dad or my mom, and I'm like, Dad, how much money have you given me to towards my business or to start my business? And he says 0. And I was like, Mom, how much did you give me? 0. And I said, but the best thing that you guys did give me is an unwavering work ethic. And that's something that they instilled in me as a kid, which started as cutting grass, and like then it turned into cutting everybody's grass on the street. We were talking about that as well. But I've done it all. Like I've never been too good to do any types of work. Like I said, I cut grass most of the time when I was younger. Even when I was working at the airport pumping gas into airplanes, I would clean the labs, or like service the labs, which is the toilets on the airplanes. Inside the business, I would clean the toilets, vacuum the floors. I didn't care. Like I just knew I had to be doing something. And at that time, the only thing that I knew to make money was to trade hours of my life for dollars, like, which there's nothing wrong with that. Most people have to do that. And I'm like, there has to be a way that I can trade less hours for more dollars. And then anyway, thankfully the internet exists, and like you can have a website which makes money while you sleep. And if you do business the right way and treat people good and be fair, it turns into something like it has in the past 8 years. I mean, I started it out of my parents, literally out of their attic. And I was like, I had all the product to my name in my attic, which was probably like $5,000 worth of product. And now to fast forward, and so that was going from $0 in sales to like the past 3 years. We've done 17 or 18 million dollars a year annually in sales. So it's been a crazy journey to turn it into that. So very grateful, but it obviously took a lot of hard work and a lot of lessons learned, and a lot of traveling, going to all these shows and being with the people that support me, and giving them demos, getting demos from them, videoing it, like not only putting obviously myself out there, but I video other people's rides as well. Like even if they run 0 product that I sell or like that I manufacture, like I'll still video it and like, hey, check this people's stuff out. Like, cause it's not about just me. Like I'm more about lifting up the whole industry and like sharing other people's stuff as well. So just totally grateful of what it's turned into, and I'm constantly giving back and doing giveaways all the time. And there's a lot of people that's tried to copy my style and I mean, I don't blame them, because I've been very transparent about.
Right?
Yeah, I've been very transparent about my journey the whole time, and I share anything I learned business wise. I share it on my Facebook, and I'm like, hey, I figured out this or this or this, and But I think people, so I get it. And people see that it's worked and like, oh, I want to do the same thing. I want to get the same results, but at least have your own little flair on it. Like put your own spin on it. Like when it's so exact, like people start messaging me like, look at this guy like copying you to like the T. Like, man, he can't be original. And I'm like, I get it on both sides or whatever. So
Yeah.
anyway,
They do say the imitation is the like greatest form of flattery. So I guess
right.
you should feel flattered. Now, real quickly, I want to go back on what you said about your one of your biggest supporters is your father. I think what I saw a video not too long ago of you paying him back for his support and advice. Did you buy him a car? Is that right?
Yeah, so that's even when I didn't have any money, like I was giving, I've always had this like giving nature. And even when I didn't have any money, I was giving in the form of time and effort. Like
Ah,
for instance, like I would cut the lady's yard next to me. There was an old lady. I would cut her yard every week for free, like just to because she was old, she couldn't afford anything.
mm,
So I would just cut her grass or like wash her car or whatever. It was just my way of giving then when I didn't have anything. And just alongside the timeline, like when I started making a little bit of money, like I would give somebody like $20 or something like that. And it
mm.
just grew over time. And the more success that's come along with it and the more money that I've made, I'm like, it. So in a short, yes, I did give my dad a brand new Denali Ultimate truck last year, I think it was a year before last, for his birthday present, because for he bought me a truck like when I was
Mm.
turning 16 that I didn't even want. Like I wanted a Jeep. Like I had this Jeep picked out. It was like $2,000, and I'm like, I'll pay you back for it. And he shows up with this I was like, I mean, it might have been a year or two old, like Chevy Z71. And in the South, the Chevy Z71 back in the day was like you couldn't tell me nothing. Like it was the cream of the crop. Like if you
Yeah.
pulled up in a Chevy Z71, like you were the shit. Like nobody could touch you. So anyway, I just couldn't believe that he got it for me. So I'm like, I want to do something for him, because he's a very selfless guy, and he's an idol and a hero to me, because he moved over here from Germany when he was like 7,
Oh,
and he didn't have anything. He didn't know how to speak English or anything like that. So he was able to, through working for somebody else, become like a single digit millionaire from doing it the very like the hardest way, and just investing and sacrificing over time. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, but he's so cheap. Like he won't spend any money on himself, and
Yeah.
he lives like just a normal life, and he doesn't
mm.
that he's financially free, but he just is very very simple. So anyway, I wanted to do something for him, so I bought him the like Denali Ultimate pickup truck and
Nice.
delivered it to him. And yeah, that video was, it was very touching for me. I mean, it took everything I had like to not start crying when I gave it to him, because he was very choked up in the video. Like when
Wow.
he's like, "You don't need to get me this. I can't accept this," type thing. And that to me is what becoming successful is about.
Mm-hmm.
Is like when you can give, like also to try to make it as short as possible. I also gave my mom a brand new Denali SUV. I gave my wife
Wow.
a Audi RSQ8. I gave my youngest sister like a brand new smile. She always had really bad teeth, and she would like, but she's
Mm.
always cracking jokes and trying to laugh, but she hides behind her, like she was covering her smile or whatever. So for her wedding present a few 2 or 3 years ago, I told her I was going to gift her a brand new smile. And like her teeth were so bad, it took 2 years of work to get all of her teeth redone to like, but now she has a brand new $50,000 smile. And like, and it's like totally worth it, obviously.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
just to see her smiling now and not have to cover her face is like, it's totally worth it. Last Christmas, I gave my oldest sister a new Jeep Rubicon, and I put a lift on it and wheels and
Wow.
tires. And I'm about to do the system in it. Like so I sent a bunch of our Hexicone speakers and she'll have about 6,000 watts of power in there and like 16 mid, 16 tweeters. Like she's gonna be rocking.
How old is she?
She's 51. So but she loves music though. She loves
That's
to
cool.
jam out, and I'm like, I'm gonna get you taken care of with the Down4Sound difference in your Jeep. And she's like, I don't want it to be too crazy, and I'm like, just trust me, it'll be awesome. So, but yeah, that's something that's very, very fulfilling to me is giving back, especially to those that I've that's helped me or been in my life along the way. It's a very fulfilling thing for me to give back to them and see how much it impacts them.
So I've been watching some of these videos online, mostly from other countries and whatnot, and people kind of seeing how America's this and America's that, and one thing they always say is something, hey, the American dream. And then I listen to some of the political talk shows where, oh, the American dream's dead, especially out here in California. They say the housing, there's no way, that's the American dream, this and that. And I think people misunderstand what the American dream is. The American dream is upward mobility. You have nothing, and you make something of your life. Me personally, I went. Well, I got to hit this one real quick. Kyle Ernie wants to know: are you taking sister applications?
Right.
People are going to want you to adopt them because of all these gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like in my personal life, right? I bought my first house was a single wide mobile home. I bought it before I was 21. Then I bought a double wide mobile home. I sold that. I bought a 2-story house. Then I have the house I lived in that house for 21 years. I live in a not very nice house. Jeffrey can attest to it. I don't have a high school education. I dropped out of high school. But like you said, I understand what work is. I worked hard. I sacrificed some stuff because my mission was to get a house and afford what I needed to for my wife and kids. And so my kids don't know anything about the lifestyle they know what it was, but they can't understand the lifestyle I came from. I was living and sleeping on drug dealers' couches growing up as a kid. I thought I was going to work for a drug dealer. That's it. Growing up until I was like 19, 18 years old, I thought that's what my job was. I was going to be an enforcer for a drug dealer. That's where I thought that was my life path, right? And luckily I changed it. And, I come from the poorest parts of town and whatnot. And, I live in a very nice house. When my relatives come over now, they're like, oh, you got a mansion. Dude, I got a 2,500 square foot house, okay? It is nice, but it's only 2,500. But the people where I grew up, this is the people that are untouchable, and it's upward mobility, and it's not dead in this country. JP is a great example of it. Prior to the show, you were telling us about your how the lawn care thing started. Why don't you go over that story again? About how old were you and how did all that work out?
Yeah, so kind of like when I was getting started with learning about, or my dad was teaching me about work and how important having a hard work ethic is. And I think this is something that's missing in a lot of people these days is like an unwavering work ethic. Like right when stuff starts to get a little difficult these days, they quit. Like they're like, oh, I don't want to do it. This work is like, I'm above this type of work or whatever. Like they think they're too good for whatever it might be. And this is like a huge handicap to people, in my opinion, because when you're first getting started, you can't pick and choose what you're doing so much like after you've made it. Like obviously now, if I don't want to do something, I don't have to do it. Like I'll just tell somebody no. But when you don't have anything and you're like broke and your back's against the wall, somebody's like, hey, come flip these burgers. I'm flipping burgers. Come cut my yard. I'm cutting grass. Like, it doesn't matter to me. So my dad was teaching me like how to cut grass, like when I was really young, probably 4 or 5. Like I was pushing the mower behind them because we had a push mower. So I was pushing it, like they would push it from the top thing and I'd push it from the middle thing. So anyway, they were teaching me. And then when I got to like 6 or 7, my neighbors would ask, like, they would see me out there cutting our yard and they would ask me if I could cut their yard. So I'm like, sure, I'll cut your grass. And they're like, how much? And I said, well, I don't know, $5. And they said, oh yeah, you cut my grass. So I'd go cut their grass. Yeah, great deal, right? Because at that time I had zero, like, when you're a kid, you have no value of a dollar and what it takes to make a dollar. You've just been given them all your life by your parents. So I was like, oh, $5, that's a lot of money. Like, yeah, we'll do it for 5. So anyway, I was like, one neighbor turned into 2 neighbors and then 3 neighbors. And I was cutting almost everybody's grass on my street. And my dad worked out of town. Like he would be out of town for a month and then come home for a month, out of town for a month, and come home for a month. So he was gone like for this month, the first month during summer. So I started cutting all these people's yards and he comes home and he sees me cutting all these yards. He's like, how much are you charging these people? Or I was like, oh, $5 a piece. And he's like, no, you can't, like, you got to do better than that. Like, I'm like, $5 is a lot of money because I was 6 or 7 or whatever, which it was, but he's like, you got to like do more than that. But so anyway, I learned then how to make a dollar and since I had work tied to it, it made me value it because when people give somebody money when it doesn't require any effort on their end, they can't truly appreciate it because it's just the way that it is. I think it's human nature, and a prime example of that is when people win the lottery. What happens 99% of the time? Those people
They're
go
dead broke within 2
Yep.
years.
Because they have no. It's not. It didn't take anything.
There's no value
hard
behind
to
the
get
money.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing. Like, so they're like, oh, it's easy. But, the saying, easy come, easy go.
Yeah.
So when you instill a hard work ethic into somebody and you teach them that, like, that's what my dad did. And I just, so cutting grass was my first kind of hustle that I had. And then it grew into, over the years, before I started doing Down4Sound full time and I was really trying to find my way, I'm like, I want to make a lot of money because, and this is I guess you could it can be a myth. Like people think the more money you make, the more successful you are. So I was brainwashed into thinking that as well as a kid, and it's pretty normal. Like people judge you or think certain ways about you if you make $10,000 a year, certain ways about you if you make $100,000 a year, you make $1 million a year. Like they, in their head, they think about you a certain way, and most of the time, the bigger the number, they think you're more important or they think you're more successful. So I'm like, when I was trying to find my way, I'm like, I need to make as much money as possible so I can be successful. Well, at that time, the only thing that I knew was work every hour that I could doing something to make $1. So I was working full time at the airport, pumping gas into these private jets, and like anything that was requested for me to do out there, I would do it. I didn't care. Like, so I was doing that 50 to 60 hours a week. Then I also, again, like I was cutting grass on the side. I had a little like lawn care service. So I was probably cutting about 10 yards a week on the side, like, which cash money is a great hustle for people to get into, even to this day. Like my nephews are doing it, and I'm like, this is awesome because I see myself in them, like out there hustling. So I was doing that, and I was also detailing cars and airplanes for these people that were out at the airport. They would fly out in their jets or whatever, and they'd leave their vehicles. I'm like, hey, you want to detail your car while you're going on vacation? And they're like, yeah, sure. I come back, and they're like, oh, here's you $200. Like they'd pay me really good because it's these people that, if obviously you're flying in a private jet, you're doing all right. So anyway, they'd come back, and I'd have their cars all cleaned up, and they're like, did a great job. And they'd tell me like, oh, can you clean the airplane while like in between our next trip? I was sure. So like I started doing that. And when I didn't have that going on, also, or sometimes on top of it, I would wait tables at my favorite restaurant. So
What?
If you see me, if you follow me on Facebook and you see me go back home, like I know I just posted about it on Saturday. Like I flew home on Saturday afternoon to go eat at my favorite restaurant, which was the one that I waited tables at. So it has a very special place in my heart because I used to wait tables there, and the people that I worked with, and a lot of them still work in the kitchen. So every time I go there, I'll go back in the kitchen and chop it up with them and stuff. And they're like, everybody, it's really cool to go back home to my hometown and people everywhere like, man, JP, I'm so proud of you for what you've been able to accomplish, and like you really went out there and did something, and like we're all so proud of you. And it's really a heartwarming feeling, like to know your hometown is just genuinely proud of like what you've accomplished, and for them to actually know about it, like it's really awesome. So
What's the name of
I
the
was doing
restaurant?
That's right.
so it's called Sherman's. If you go and look on my Facebook on Saturday, I actually checked into there, and
Shout
I
them
was
out.
kind of
Yeah.
I was kind of having like a moment of reflection, like when I got there, because if if y'all wonder, like, I mean, I've always traveled and like went the extra mile to go to these shows and attend them and stuff, but on Saturday, this is just on Saturday, I made a post about this because it was just like after I got there and I was eating dinner with my family, it all started sinking in on like what I accomplished in that single day. Because my daughter, I couldn't leave on Friday to get to the show because my daughter had a volleyball game. So I'm like, I don't want to miss my daughter's event on Friday. So I want to like wait until Saturday morning. I'll leave early. So anyway, 6 o'clock Saturday morning, I get on a plane, fly to Atlanta, Georgia. And I have another plane pick me up, like a private jet, pick me up from Atlanta to take me to Auburn, which is just a 25-minute flight. So, but anyway, they take me there. I go to the show in Auburn from, I think it started at 1 to 8 or something. Anyway, I got there at 1, did the show, gave and got demos from people until I think 7, and then the airport was only 5 minutes away. So I had one of my Down4Sound team members run me over there to the airport, got in the plane, did a low pass over the show, like a real cool thing. So I tell the pilot to do a low pass over the show when we're leaving. He's like, okay, no problem. So anyway, we do that. Fly back to my hometown, Greenville, Mississippi. My mom's there waiting on me to pick me up. She picks me up. We go to dinner at 8:15. And when I'm sitting there and having dinner with my mom, dad, and my sister, it sinks in. I'm like, I traveled across the whole country today, attended a show, flew into Georgia, attended a show in Alabama. Now I'm having dinner with my family in Mississippi, and it was just so crazy to me that all that happened in a day. Like it's almost 2,000 miles of traveling, and I did all these things. But the thing in saying that, what enabled that to be able to be a reality was sacrificing for so long and being able to have the money to now make that a reality, to because planes buy you time, like is and that's what it comes down to. Like now is my time is way more valuable than like money. So of course money is
Right.
very important, but when you have it, like you need to use it to, because of like my dad, he's a prime example. He's again, he's really cheap and he doesn't want to spend the money he's made to make his life easier or whatever. And so I learned from that, and I'm like, I'm going to spend mine a little bit along the way, not anything that'll put me in a bad situation or whatever, but I'm going to use a little bit of it along the way to make it where I can do multiple things or whatever it might be. So that was a reflection that I had while I was at the restaurant with them, to be able to
That's
do all
awesome.
that in a day. So anyway,
All right, I got a couple of things here. Kyle
Okay.
Ernie pops in, says, everybody wants the easy way out these days. Too much social media influence. Everybody is a stock crypto trader or YouTuber.
Or
Real work
YouTuber.
trades will be extinct
man.
or imported from other countries. Cutting grass, digging holes, and that stuff. Builds character, which I don't disagree with him. I was in a car wreck in 2000. So I was laid up for 10 months. I had to learn how to walk again and all that. It was a pretty severe car wreck. And
Man.
during that time, I learned how to build subwoofer boxes. And next thing you know, I started my own subwoofer company and TV drag judge. Then started my own trophy shop. that was my version of retirement, because I ended up retiring from construction because I was like, hey, I can't even walk. There's no way I'm going to be able to, lift up walls and hang sheetrock and do that kind of stuff anymore. I went back to it, but it was, hey, what am I going to do? And so I started 3 other businesses. That was my version of hanging out. Let's see. Tristan out of Bridgetown, Barbados. JP, in your journey, did you always think that one day you would have your own product line?
No, it did not start out that way, and I didn't think really about having my own product line. Somebody that kind of planted the seed with not just products, but also believing in myself to get something started was Scotty Johnson with Excess Power Batteries.
Oh yeah.
He
We keep trying to get him on here. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
He's always busy,
Yeah.
And he is. He's a very busy guy.
Yeah. So he, way back in the day, like in the forum days, SMD forum or whatever, like, and when I was, again, I started out just like any normal person. I was dead broke, working paycheck to paycheck, and I was trying to use all my money to buy car audio and everything like that. So same exact thing. So I was trying to do like a bigger or a build upgrade. I don't know exactly what it was at the time, but I needed some wire. And so I reached out to Excess Power. And I'm like, hey, like I'm looking to get a sponsorship, blah, blah, blah. And come to find out, so he emails me back or messages me back. I can't remember how I contacted them or him, but he's like, hey, give me a call when you get a chance. And I'm like, this owner, I mean, in my head, I thought this was like this massive company. I'm like, this owner of the company wants me to call him? What the heck? So anyway, I'm like, shoot, okay, I drop everything. And like I call the dude, I'm like, hey, like this is JP or whatever. And he's like, hey, how's it going? And we started talking, and I'm like, yeah, I'm looking to get 10 spools of zero gauge to do this rebuild with or whatever. And he's like, I have no problem like doing a sponsorship for you. Like usually a sponsorship is like 10, 20, 30% off or something, just depending. Most people don't do full ride sponsorships. Like those are kind of a thing of the past, even back then. So I was like, oh, grateful, cool. And he said, but then he followed up with, but I really think that you should do your own thing. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, you should do your own wire. And I'm like, I don't know anything about business. Like I've never had a business. And I'm like, and then I'm also like, why me? Like, what's this guy? There's gotta be a catch,
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, I've seen you may not have known this, but I've been watching you on Facebook for the past 8 years or something. And he's saying, you remember when you were you were buying that wire out of this van on SMD, like with one of your first builds, like the used wire? And I'm like, yeah, I remember that. He was like, that was me. That was my van. And ever since you bought that, I found you on Facebook, and I've been watching you this whole time. You've been he said, I've been watching you cut grass, like detail cars and airplanes, pumping gas, and like all this stuff. I've been watching you for the past 8 years, and like if you work half as hard for yourself that as you are for other people, you'll be ultra successful. I'm like, man, you're full of shit. You're trying to gas me up, man. What's it? And anyway, so I'm like, okay, I'll think about it. And I got off the phone with him, and I'm like, this guy, I don't know this guy. He's trying to take advantage of me. Why is he saying this to me or whatever? Mm-hmm. But it planted the seed in my head, and I started thinking like, what if, what if I did do something or whatever? So anyway, he like told me so the more it was going in my head, he told me that, so I reached out to him after, I don't know how long it was, but I'm like, so what would it look like to get something going, like with some wire or whatever? I'm like, I don't have any money. I'm freaking broke as a joke, and I'm trying to get this build together. It's like, no, if you want to if you want to try it or whatever, we can just do a very small run of like, I don't know, a couple of pallets of wire or whatever, and try it out. And if and I'll front the money for it. So it was probably, if I had to guess, $5,000 worth of wire or something. I don't know. It was a couple of pallets. But it was something that I didn't have. Like, so I'm like, okay, I'll try it. So anyway, he brings it in on one of his shipments with wire, and it's labeled under, like, I started the brand as Certified Basehead. I thought this was going to be the name of the brand that I wanted to go with. Anyway, he brings it in. And every time, like, I've always had a thing like where I hate owing people money. It's just like it burns me alive to owe people money. So I would, so I would get a sale for a spool of wire, which was very, very slow to get going. By the way, like people have no idea how hard it is to get started. But anyway, I would get a sale for it, and I would instantly PayPaling the money, or I'd instantly sending the money somehow, and then it started getting like where I would get a sale like once a week or whatever, and he messaged me. He's like, "Bro, you don't have to send me a payment every time you get something. Like, you could just wait till you sell all of it and then pay me then or whatever." I'm like, "Man, I just hate owing people money, so I just want to get you your money back." But anyway, that was kind of the first product that I had. It wasn't under the Down4Sound brand, but we just did like after that, like I flipped it, and I I just kept putting the money all back into the business. Like, I just kept flipping it over. I didn't touch any of it. So after, obviously, I paid him back, and then ever since, I don't know, after 2 months, like, it's been my money that I've been reinvesting into it. Um, so that kind of got the idea started on some wire and RCAs and stuff like that. But I never really thought about expanding out from that and like having amplifiers and speakers, sound deadener, like batteries, like all this other stuff that we have now. I wasn't interested in it because I was selling products that I was moving like fast, and there was a good margin in it for the dealers at the time. So I'm like, I'm content. Like, you get complacent and content, and so anyway, I did that for a while, but the more the Down4Sound name brand grew, people started asking for it. They're like, "Man, when are you gonna, like, you need to do a Down4Sound amp, or you need to do it?" I'm like, for a while, like, "No, man, I'm good. Like, I'll just sell these other people's stuff, and like I'll be the number one dealer for these brands." And but people kept asking it, like, and so that also planted a seed in my head where I'm like, maybe there's something to this. Maybe I should listen to them. And that's when the JP23, the Down4Sound, the first amp we came out with, the JP23, that's when that was born. And now we're at 550 SKUs. So it's like it's snowballed from there. But that's kind of how it started. And in the same time where Scotty had planted that seed in my head, I was going to all these shows with my build and demoing, and I was building the YouTube following, because when I would go, I would video people getting demos or whatever. But almost every time I give somebody a demo, then they would say, "Where do you get your equipment from?" And at that time, I didn't have a business or anything. So I'm like, "Oh, you just go to Sundown or go to Excess Power or whatever, and you can buy it from them." By the way, that's the way a sponsorship works. Like, if you are sponsored by a company, that's how you get them their return on investment. Like sacrificing not making any money off of you is like, you're supposed to obviously promote them. So anyway, I was pointing them back to it. That the more shows I went to, it kept repeating, "Where do you get it from? Where do you get it from?" And then one day somebody asked me, and it was like the light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, I could be selling these people this stuff if I could just figure out how. Like, so again, that was around the same time Scotty had said, if you work half as hard for yourself as you do for everybody else, you'll be ultra successful. So all those things came together, and I'm like, I got to figure out how to start a business and how to get this thing going. And the rest, again, that's how it got started, and the rest is kind of history.
That's awesome. Tristan says, I worked with a few of your products, and they are awesome. I like the JP234. I had sent you some pics last year with the install with the JP234 and Incriminator Audio IX 6.1. So that's what he says. His
We appreciate it.
his wife Tiffany, she says, so what are the pros and cons of introducing your own brand of car audio products? If you don't mind sharing, what's your journey been like? What's that journey been like for you? I think you went over the journey part now, but what's the pros and cons of introducing your own product?
So the pros and cons of it is obviously it's it's a double-edged sword, because you want to grow your own baby, but in growing your own baby, where I say I was the number one cheerleader for all these companies I was selling. Like I was their number one cheerleader, and like with me having such a following, obviously it's a huge asset to them for me to be constantly cheerleading whatever brand it is. But once I had the realization of like growing my own baby, then the natural migration to effort is to grow my own baby. So like all my effort goes, or I would say 90 or 95% of my effort, I still like have my team share other brands and like to promote other brands and stuff like that. But it's it's easier to cheer for your kid than somebody else's kid. Like,
Yeah.
like it's just natural. So um anyway, that's really the the pro is you are growing your own baby. And it's something that you can control more. The inventory, the like when you're selling other people's products, like I always stocked really heavy, but it's easy to run out of something and then they don't have it, and like you're like crap. Like
Yeah.
it's out of you don't have so much control over it. So there's that. But with the pro, like you're growing your own baby and you're able to um, have a lot of people like supporting you and your brand. But the con to it is like that it's in a way taking away from these other companies in some capacity. Well, while they can, I mean, I have no doubt like everybody that was going to survive with me or like without me or whatever, I think people are going to be okay. But are they going to notice a difference? Probably, like, because whereas we started on, obviously when we didn't have any Down4Sound products, like all the sales that we got was whatever brands that we were selling. But gradually over time it went from like every now and then when I would see somebody get a Down4Sound product or a Down4Sound product, so I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like finally we got a sale. And then like it gradually over time grew to now like it's about 80 to 85% Down4Sound products that are moving through our store on the sales. So which is again the double-edged sword. Is like on one side of it's like, man, this is awesome, like my baby's growing, it's like it's really cool. But on the other side, I would be lying if it doesn't cross my mind that, man, like I'm seeing the sales slow down for the other brands because like it's mostly Down4Sound stuff that we're selling. So it's a it's a really weird dynamic, like because a lot of these people are friends, and like Scotty's a close friend, like Jacob Fuller's a close friend. Like these people are close friends of mine. And I know it can be weird or awkward for them too, because you want your friends to do good, like you want them to have a successful company, but you're also watching it somewhat affect your company. So it's like that's the con to it. It makes it a really weird dynamic sometimes, like when you see that happening. But I know like these people will be fine. Like they were,
Yeah,
like they existed before I even existed.
Exactly,
So I know
yeah.
they'll exist
Yeah.
without me being there.
the thing
Anyway.
is though too is now you've surrounded yourself with people who want you to be successful. I mean, there's zero doubt, right?
Yeah.
Scotty wants you to be successful. And all these other Sundown, they want you to be successful, and Incriminator.
Mhm.
All these people, they want you to be successful, and they do understand that they're going to lose some sales with you being successful, but they're still happy for you. And part of growing a business or growing from nothing into something, you don't ever do it alone. And and it is a lot about the people that you surround yourself with. It makes a huge difference. You
Oh,
know,
100%. Relationships is the currency that you want to be dealing with.
absolutely.
Wow.
So, like, your wife is obviously part of this journey now with you. She's the one to reach out to me initially, but Jeffrey and I, our wives are part of ours too, and they're much bigger than people could imagine. Nick Wright. I've known Nick Wright for what, I don't know, 27 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Since before he was Incriminator, I've known the guy, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
his wife is a big part of what helps maintain his success, and I don't doubt that would be the same for you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So it's really about the people you surround yourself with. As he said, it's really, really important to be using the currency of relationships and transactions.
Yeah.
Because if your relationship is based on dollar values, as soon as somebody comes along with a bigger dollar value, that relationship no longer exists.
Hmm.
So it has to be a relationship in when where you and them are friends, not the dollar value doesn't have a part in that relationship. So
Yeah.
that's at least my thought. That's what I see with the successful people. Obviously we're trying to have as many successful people on this show as we possibly can.
Hmm.
Um, here, right here, Tristan. So it's Tristan and Tiffany that are Barbados together. Tristan, he said his wife, my wife always teaches me relationships are the key to anything you're in. And my wife and kids play a big part. They do. I will say, if you guys know Tiffany or Tristan, then you 100% know Tiffany and and their kids. That's just how they roll together. Um, it's a very interesting dynamic, I would say, with them, and they're out of Barbados. They have a
Hmm.
different type of economy than we do out here, and they're trying to
Hmm.
grow. They're trying to grow the Bahamas as a whole, not just their island. So, which
Yeah.
is cool, and I'm sure you do the same thing, right? So, Jonathan, or sorry, Scotty helped boost you up, and I'm sure you've tried to help boost other people. How many employees do you have now?
Uh, it's around 20 ish.
So you have 20 people working for you that were, I'm just guessing, but I'm almost positive. Every one of them was into car audio, and they
What?
came to you looking for to because they wanted to be part of the success in your business.
A lot of them, yeah. Sometimes you get people that have no idea who I am, and it's
Okay.
funny to see them like end up on the team and like they see me over here autographing all this stuff, and they start asking the other team members, what's up with this autograph and stuff, and but anyway, so it's funny to see the people that have no idea who I am.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, Jonathan's giving people jobs. He gave an opportunity for people to feed their families and actually enjoy the sport from a different direction than what they were enjoying it before. Opportunity probably, as an employee, they probably get a little discounted prices on stuff, and they get to go to car shows and stuff that they
Yeah.
probably weren't going to be able to go to. But as part of Down4Sound, hey, as a team, we're going to here, and the whole team goes, and get an opportunity
Yep.
to see builds and be part of things that as an individual, they probably never would have had an opportunity to be
Yeah.
part of.
Yeah, imagine that going to these events and getting paid because you're with the company. So I mean, like, who wouldn't want to enjoy something like that? So,
Huh?
That's awesome.
That's nice how that works, huh, Jeffrey?
yeah, but maybe the work part not so much sometimes, but just being there, you get to go to like these uh big stereo competitions, these big car shows, these big
Mm-hmm.
events, and you go out there and you represent the company that gave you this opportunity. So,
Yep.
you're not only receiving advice from people you look up to, but that you're over here instilling the advice and stuff you learn to your employees, and that's going to show. That's going to show for sure.
Hmm.
I would agree. Hey, Jeffrey, we are running up on time, so you want to hit
What?
him? Yes, I know.
I wanted to ask Jonathan here about his bodybuilding days when he used to be a bodybuilder. I don't know if most of you guys have seen, but I recall the picture,
All right.
seeing it, and you'd get all tanned up, and you would actually do competitions, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was a form of bodybuilding. It's called men's physique. It's more like a beach look. Like you're not like looking like most people think of a bodybuilder and they think of these overblown guys that are just so swole like you can't even reach your back or whatever.
Oh
But it's
no.
more of like a beach look to look more symmetrical or whatever. But yeah, I did that for a while and I've always been, which is very important to take care of your health along the way. That was a big lesson for me. So always pay attention to your health because if you lose your health, you lose everything. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how many millions of dollars you accumulate. If you lose your health, like none of that matters. Like it can all go away just like that. So
Yeah, you
I've
were
been
doing
trying.
like ice baths, and you're walking 10,000 steps a day, right?
Yeah, I still do all that. Yeah, like so
Yeah.
I have like my daily routine that I do every day, which I can go really quick. So typical day for me is I wake up at 3:45. I go and do red
That's the
light
AM
therapy.
for you guys that don't understand.
the, the
Yeah.
AM.
Uh, so I go and do red light therapy, a
Mm.
PEMF mat, which is pulse electronic magnification frequencies or something like that, and then deep breathing meditation. So that's how I start my morning off. And then I go out and get in, like you said, the ice bath for 3 to 5 minutes. After that, I go and do my strength training, which I use an X3 band system now. Something
Mm.
very simple, but it's a really effective. And then sometime throughout the day, I'll like usually I get to the warehouse and I kind of get started, and then I'll go for a walk for 3 or 4 miles. So that's kind of my, and I'm trying to dial in my eating again right now. So it's that's always the thing for me because just like everybody, like I'm a foodie, like I love good food and good. I mean, good like as in brownies and ice cream and like all this other stuff. So anyway, that's always a battle for me, but it's very important to take care of your health. So
Oh yeah,
keep that on the
definitely,
front.
definitely. Yeah, there was another story too I wanted to talk about was man, this was like spring break nationals years and years ago. I don't know if you remember, but it was myself, it was Roger Bridges, it was you, and it was Gary Killian, and we all shared this room in at Daytona Beach.
I
I
slept on the
recall.
floor.
Well, you slept on. You know what? I don't even remember most of that time
I
for
believe
whatever
that.
reason, but I do recall there were some mornings that I came in, and right when I came in through the door, because I had been out that night, you were leaving. You were just going out, and maybe you were checking out the show. But I was like, man, where's this guy going? We were just getting back from partying all night. But
Yeah.
Roger and I kind of talk about that, every now and then, and he tells me about the stories, from back then. But yeah, you talk about these like, wow, these beginnings, these like humble beginnings, man.
Mhm.
Gary's successful now, and he's got his barbecue line, and Roger with Crossfire and stuff like that. So it's
Mhm.
just the company you keep is a really really big deal, and I'm kind of glad that you know um, you're just instilling that. You're just telling everybody about it. So
Yeah,
you know.
and success, like I want to end on this. Like success, by the way, is whatever you decide for it to be. Don't
Hmm.
let anybody out
Mm,
there tell you what success is. Like you need to decide that for yourself because
for
if you
yourself.
put that in the power of the wrong people, you'll never be successful. Don't tie it to a dollar figure. I view myself as successful because I can do what I want. I can be at my daughter's volleyball games. I can spend time with my
Right.
wife.
Hmm.
I can come home and play with my dogs. I can go and do whenever I want to. Does that come from a byproduct of making some money? Sure. But I know people that are successful in their own right and
Yes.
happy
Yes.
with working at a grocery store or
Yeah.
doing landscaping or whatever it might be because they're happy. Like being happy is the most important thing. People get so caught up in chasing dollars, they lose
Dollars,
themselves
right?
and they lose what is very important for you to find, which is what is success to you. And so that's what it is for me. Like, is being able to come home in the afternoons. And like I used to work from start to stop, like 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. every night. It
Mm-hmm.
almost cost me my relationship because I was working all the time. I wasn't spending any time
Yeah.
with my kid or my wife, and uh, I had a realization, luckily, and turned it all around. And now, like, it gets to be about 4 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm good. I'm going home. Like, I'm gonna go play with my dogs, or I want to go hang out with my wife, or whatever. So, anyway,
And that's
um,
what makes you happy.
100%. Like,
Yeah.
so, just don't let somebody define success for you. Be sure to define it for yourself.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great
And
advice.
you could see that in, the way they carry themselves, and,
Mm-hmm.
they're happy they're there at their job, or they're
Mm-hmm.
happy that they're doing what they're doing. It's not
Yep.
necessarily like you're saying it's not chasing a number. If you're
Mm-hmm.
chasing a number, it just seems like okay, you're gonna, you might obtain it, then you want to chase a higher number, and then you
Mm-hmm.
start losing touch with the things that actually do make you happy and that you can call being successful. So
Yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with having goals
yep.
and like you said, like chasing some numbers and having goals. It's good to have some goals, but it's okay to not meet them all the time or whatever. Like but
True.
you want to have
Yeah.
something that you work towards, but
Mm-hmm.
don't like be destroyed if you don't meet your goal sometime or whatever. Like it's gonna be okay. But yeah, don't let your goals um take your focus off of whatever your definition of success is, and work be sure to like be inclusive of your family and
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
making time for them and everything. So
Yep.
it's a um something that everybody has to figure out, but
Hmm.
um like I know my hardships were like losing my health or getting unhealthy, like because I was chasing dollars or chasing success or whatever, and also almost losing my family because of the same exact thing. So
Hmm.
if I had to go and do it over again, I would have paid attention to the like trying to be healthy and trying to be there for my family. Because would it have taken me a little bit longer to obtain what I now have? Sure. Does it really matter? No. Like it would have been okay, but I would have
Yeah.
been happier with my family and my health than I would have been having a few more dollars in the bank. So
Yep.
anyway,
You could be like
I'll
me.
leave it at that.
You could be like me. My goals are easy to reach. My goal every day is to wake up breathing. If I don't reach my goal, I
Oh.
won't know it. So keep
Yeah.
my goals low, and that way they're easy
I
to
like that.
achieve.
I like that.
I,
Perfect.
Yeah.
so that's it for me. Anyway, hey Jeffrey, we're not gonna get to the question at
Yes.
all. Tell us about the
Bummer.
shows behind you. I'm already
Oh,
running late, so.
okay. So we talked a little bit about the this Sunday show, um, but a month from now, roughly around a month from now,
Hmm.
May 18th, Saturday, we're gonna have a triple point event sponsored by Steve De Los Santos and Team Voodoo Customs. It's gonna be the annual De Los Santos Memorial Car Audio Show. Again, it's gonna be a triple point event. It's gonna be multi-org. U.S.A.C.A will be there as well. And yeah, if you guys were there for last year's event, you guys will definitely want to be there for the Saturday, May 18th show as well. So, yep, that's all I got. Check out dbdragracing.com/calendar for all the details.
All right, and for me, real quick, countdown for Autorama has begun. We're getting close to that. I think next week we're gonna have the Autorama guys on, so we'll
Cool.
try and do that possibly. But yeah, the countdown for Autorama is happening. So May 4th and 5th, that's a 5X weekend in Sacramento, California. If you guys are
Oh,
coming, let's go across the street. Autorama is at Cal Expo in
Cal
Sacramento.
Expo.
So
I'll be
Jeffrey already
there.
got his flight. So he'll be out there. You guys rent a car.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yep.
Just
So
recently.
remember, we're gonna have multi-orgs out there. We have USAC, IASCA, and DB Drag out there all at the same time. So you guys, if you're up in the Northwest or whatever, want to come on down for that, come on down. Let's have a good time. We're, last year I think there were 65 cars that came through the gate. This year we're hoping to see close to over 100 cars. So opportunity to get seen by a bunch of people. Where else in the world are you going to be put literally at the front entrance of a event that gates over 30,000 people? So, I mean, we literally put you right in front of the front gate for 30,000 people. Got to walk right by your car to go into the rest of the venue. So it's a really cool idea, really cool thing. They really enjoy us being there every year. So
yeah, we'd like to see JP up there, but it's the same weekend as Triple Fest, and
yeah,
I don't think
it's always the same week. Yeah,
it's
Yeah,
not always.
if
It's all good.
I mean, in the future, if y'all end up doing it on a weekend that's not already booked out, like I'd love to come over and I mean, if I can't bring the time, at least show up and show support for y'all's event.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's a great event. Rusty shows up, Sky High. I mean, we get people coming from all over. Wayne Harris comes out a lot. So
cool.
it's a really cool event. Opportunity to see a lot of things that you don't normally see. So all that's
Cool.
good. Other than that, dude, I am so freaking late. All right. Once again,
I enjoyed it.
Thank you, JP, for being on here. Jeffrey,
Yes,
great as
yes.
always. Once again, I want to thank our sponsors for today's show. That would be Voodoo Customs, Crossfire Car Audio, and E-Box. Andy Tusher popping in. I haven't seen his name
Whoa.
on here. Josh Tate2 posting in pretty late here. Anyway, once again, real quick, I moved all of the Friday shows from Jay's Alarms because I may be changing jobs. Those will be Saturdays now. So it'll be the first Saturday of the month. So I will start putting those. Hopefully I'll get those all on the calendar tomorrow. I got the dates for Reno confirmed, Sacramento confirmed, and for Fresno confirmed. So I will get all those hopefully up tomorrow, get those dates going. Jay's Alarms, for you guys that don't know, he loves to give away money for the death match. So I got to get with him and see how we're going to do it. Is it going to be the final show or whatever? But anyway, so we got to look to do death match at Jay's Alarms. So anyway, once again, thanks guys for tuning in. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, JP. We will see you guys next week on Monday at 5:30 p.m. California time. Once again, the only time that matters. We'll see you next week. Peace.